a fabric flower, and it is an easy and affordable craft that I learned about 8 years ago, and I just enjoy making them, and I really enjoy sharing how to do it. This fabric flower has a stem that you wear behind your ear, but it can also be attached to a hair clip, a hair band, or even just made into a bouquet, or even put on a pen. Let's see. You can attach this and have it at your desk. Just super cute. So let's get started with what we'll need. I use scrap fabric for my flowers. This is a small cut, but if you have a larger piece and you want to make several of them, just spread them out and you're ready to go. You also need floral tape, floral stem wire. This is an 18 gauge, which I prefer. It comes in a longer piece. I fold it in half and cut it. That way I have more material to work with. I also use this tacky glue. This tacky glue is the only glue I've ever used to make this. It works great, so why change it? It goes on white but dries clear. I'm sure there's other glues that would work just as well. Just make sure that it is a fabric-friendly glue. That way it can attach to the fibers and work for you. I also use a small paintbrush, just an inexpensive paintbrush. This is really just to push down on the wire as you're attaching it to the fabric, and then to coat the petal with the glue. And then I like to put in the center of my flowers a shell. I have a bunch of broken shell lays laying around that I save for crafting. I've also seen it done with faux pearls. You just hot glue it right there to the center, but it looks great even without a centerpiece. You could also use, in the floral department, there are flower centers that you can buy, and those are really affordable and cute too. As you can see with the finished petal, the white stem wire. Now, I like it to look like this. I feel it really frames it, but I noticed a couple of the ladies, after I showed them, they didn't like that. They did their fabric reversed and the wires on the back. They wanted just the fabric to be shown. And you know what? That looks really good too. If you wanted something a little bit more, maybe a little bit playful, and you want to use, have more options for colors, I've seen pipe cleaner used, and that looks really cute also. Okay, so the first part of this is to get your stem wire and to start making your petals. Normally, without doing the video, I would just bust out a bunch of these all at once and just have them ready. And how to do that is you take your 8-ounce bottle, you take your wire, and you simply twist it. This creates that round petal and helps you keep your petals consistent in size. Okay, and that's it. Now this size petal, this 8-ounce bottle, is the perfect measurement for this flower. If you wanted to have something really large and really make a statement, then I would use the 16-ounce bottle of the tacky glue. But if you're just going to have a standard earpiece, this is the 8 ounce is the way to go. I've used soda bottles before. You just want a smooth surface. Water bottles really don't work because they usually have lips in them, little grooves, and when you try to slide off the wire, it catches. It really becomes difficult, not user-friendly. So just a smooth surface to where it can just slide right off on the end is perfect. Now once I have all my petals ready to go, I will bend this long part. This is the stem. And what I want to do, let me show you this side angle. I want this to be as flat as possible. So once I attach it to the fabric, it's going to lay down as flat as can be. So now this petal is ready to go. These are all in different stages. I'm going to saturate as much as possible. I used to not do it like this, and I found this to be so much easier. I was so worried on making a mess before, and I realized it was just silliness. This is much better. It'll attach to the fabric better too. You really want this wire to be coated. Don't worry about any overhang because that's all going to smooth out. So you're just going to simply place it, and then take your brush and start lightly applying pressure, just a little bit. You want contact. You want that fabric and the wire to be attached. Because this is wire and we've already manipulated it by bending, there's going to be highs and lows. And that's okay. You just want to make sure that the fabric in it marries. Now, having this glue, this excess glue, it's okay. You just don't want it to be too thick because then it just won't dry in certain spots. And then once you have it attached, I usually will attach a bunch of them and then I go back and I take the glue and I cover the petal because once it dries and you want it nice and smooth. Once it dries, it has just a really nice sheen to it, and it makes the flower look even more finished, just a nicer product. Okay, so all this excess I'm going to just kind of lightly take away and allow these to dry. I have a time-lapse video of me making these yesterday. And I'm going to just double check. These are already dry. It lifted right here. So I'm going to, when that happens, I'm going to reattach. There we go. So I learned how to make these about 8 years ago at a Ho'olālea by Kumuke Kaimoku. Well, I didn't learn to make it at the Ho'olālea. I saw them for the first time at a Ho'olālea. His halau gave these out at the end of their performance, and I was just so moved by that. I really was hoping to learn, and luckily enough, I learned a couple months later. So this was once all white with glue. Once it dries, it just has this really pretty sheen about it. You're going to want to cut out the petals, but leave a little bit of fabric. That way you don't create an air gap underneath and it'll stay attached to the wire as long as possible. Okay, so you're going to cut out all your petals and then you're going to start stacking your petals. You're going to need 5 for a plumeria-esque type flower. If I was going to make a tiare, I would add another 1 or 2 petals to that. And actually, let me show you the different shapes that you can make for your petals depending on what type of flower is your inspiration. So let me show you that. And I would do this step prior to putting it on the fabric. Have an idea of what you want your flower to be. Now with this plumeria flower, good old brown is perfect. But let's just say I wanted it to be a tiare. I'm going to take my finger. Tiares tend to have a longer petal. And look at that. That was, I don't know if you can see that really well. Let's put the green. I pulled it with my finger and just created a nice petal with that. If I wanted to do, say, something that reminded me of a hibiscus is going to be whiter on the sides. And then I'm going to pull up the middle and just kind of make it seem big. Smaller at the top, wider at the sides. There we go. And then I think this is a nice base to make your hibiscus. And then once the fabric is dry, you can then manipulate your petal. Let me show you how. So this was just a regular circle. And what I like to do, some people just like to keep it this way, and that is totally cool. I used to do it that way too. But then one of the aunties that dances here, her name was Auntie Ku'ule. I saw hers was, the shape was manipulated and it just looks so good. So what I tend to do is something similar to what she does. I create a crease right here at the top. And I put a bend, more of a bend. So then as they're building, it's not such a flat piece. It has more, I mean, of course it's a fabric flower, but more movement. It just seems a little bit extra. And I like that. And then you can just move your flowers around. Okay, so once you've built your flowers, you're then going to cover the stem with floral tape. This will, because as you twist these petals together, there's going to be ends sticking out. And if you would put this behind your ear, your hair is going to catch. So having floral tape twisted on the end really is helpful. And it just builds onto each other and squeeze. Okay? Or you can hot glue onto, like I said earlier, a hair clip, headband, a hair pick. There's all different kinds of ways, depending on your hair type too, what works in your hair to hold your flower. Or this is just simply behind the ear. So I'm going to put on the time-lapse video. You'll see me doing this project, and then we'll get back to me and cutting out this flower and gifting it to someone else later on. Thanks for joining me, and enjoy this craft. Aloha! I hope you enjoy making this craft. Please share in the comments area below pictures, any tips you might have. If you've done something different, added glitter, who knows? I'd love to see it. And if there's something else that you'd like to see me do a workshop on, please share that too. Till then, take care, live aloha, and mahalo for stopping by. Aloha.